Every day, millions of Americans over 60 sit down to meals they believe are protecting their heart. They cut out the butter, they skip the red meat, they load up on vegetables instead, and they feel reassured that they are finally doing something right. But what if one of the healthiest foods on your plate is quietly putting strain on your blood pressure? The frightening part is that blood pressure trouble often arrives without any warning. It can show up as morning headaches, sudden dizziness, ringing in the ears, blurry vision, shortness of breath after walking, or a chest that feels tight for no clear reason. Most people blame stress. Most people blame age. Few suspect their food. Because high blood pressure does not usually announce itself with a loud alarm, it works in silence. And by the time the symptoms become impossible to ignore, the pressure may have already been damaging your arteries for years. In the next few minutes, I will show you 4 vegetables often praised as healthy that can quietly raise blood pressure for some adults over 60, along with 4 safer alternatives. And before this video ends, you may discover that one of the foods you eat most often is the very food working against your heart all along. And the first one may surprise you because it is sitting in almost every American refrigerator. You see it on the side of dinner plates. You see it in jars. You see it as a topping. You see it at barbecues, at delis, and at family gatherings. I am talking about pickles, and more broadly, pickled vegetables. Now, let me say this clearly before anyone gets worried. A single small pickle on the side of a sandwich is not usually the problem for most people. The trouble begins with how often and how much. Pickles, pickled beets, pickled onions, sauerkraut, and pickled peppers are soaked in brine, and brine is mostly salt. When a vegetable sits in salt water for days or weeks, that vegetable becomes a sponge for sodium. One medium dill pickle can carry a surprising amount of salt, and most people do not stop at 1. Your body needs some sodium, your nerves need it, your muscles need it, but sodium has to stay in balance. When you take in too much salt, your body holds on to extra water to dilute it. That extra fluid increases the volume of blood pushing through your vessels. And more volume means more pressure against your artery walls. After 60, when blood vessels are naturally stiffer and less flexible, that added pressure matters far more than it did at 30. Think about a retired man who has decided to eat better. He stops drinking soda. He cuts out fried foods. He even switches to whole wheat bread. But every afternoon, he enjoys a sandwich with 2 or 3 pickle spears on the side, because in his mind, a vegetable is a vegetable. He feels good about it, and honestly, who could blame him? He is not eating greasy takeout, but over the months, his blood pressure creeps higher and higher. His doctor adds a second medication, and he is shocked, because in his mind, he was doing everything right. That is the point. After 60, the danger is not always the food that looks unhealthy. Sometimes it is the food that looks like a harmless little vegetable, but carries a heavy load of hidden salt. So do you need to throw away every pickle in your kitchen? No. This is not about fear. This is about knowing the difference between a small occasional treat and a daily habit. Instead, try fresh cucumber slices with a splash of vinegar or fresh crunchy vegetables seasoned with herbs. Sometimes the smallest change takes a surprising amount of pressure off your heart. And the second food is even more familiar, because for many Americans, this one feels like comfort itself. It is creamy, it is rich. It shows up at potlucks, at holidays, and at Sunday dinners. I am talking about canned and creamed vegetables, especially canned corn, canned peas, and creamed spinach. Now, vegetables are not the enemy here. That is not the message. The problem is what happens inside the can. To keep canned vegetables' shelf stable and tasty, manufacturers often add large amounts of salt, and creamed versions add salt, heavy cream, and butter on top of that. Many people think, I am eating vegetables, so I am being healthy. And yes, vegetables are good for you. But for blood pressure concerns, the issue is not the vegetable. The issue is the sodium and saturated fat hiding around it. Picture a grandmother at a family dinner. She has been trying to do right by her health. She skips the dessert. She passes on the gravy. But on her plate, she has a scoop of canned corn, a spoon of creamed spinach, and some canned peas. Everything looks normal. Everything feels like home. But the next morning, her ankles are swollen, her rings feel tight, and her head is pounding. At her checkup, her blood pressure is higher than it has been in years. That is what many older adults do not realize. A vegetable from a can is not the same as a vegetable from the garden. So what should you do if you love these foods? Do not panic. If you must buy canned, look for the words "no salt added" and rinse the vegetables under water before cooking, which can wash away a good portion of the surface salt. Portion size matters too. As folks often say, a little may be fine, but too much of a good thing is still too much. Now the third food is one of the biggest surprises because it has such a clean reputation. People drink it for vitamins, they juice it for energy, they call it a detox food. I am talking about celery, particularly celery juice, and large amounts of raw celery. Celery looks like the picture of innocence. It is green, it is crunchy, it is mostly water. And for many healthy people, a few stalks of celery are perfectly fine. But for adults over 60 watching their blood pressure, concentrated celery deserves caution. The surprise is that celery is naturally higher in sodium than most other vegetables. A stalk or two is nothing. But the danger appears with concentration. Here is where people get caught. When you juice celery, you might use an entire bunch in a single glass. You would never sit down and eat a whole bunch of raw celery in one meal, but you can drink it in 2 minutes. And with it comes all the natural sodium, concentrated into one glass that you swallow before your body has any chance to feel full. Think of your arteries like an old garden hose. When the hose is new, water flows through with ease. But when the hose is old and stiff, and you turn the pressure up high again and again, the strain on the walls becomes real. That is what extra sodium can feel like to aging blood vessels. And the hardest part is that people drink celery juice precisely because they are trying to help themselves. A 68-year-old woman sees celery juice promoted online as a natural blood pressure remedy. So every morning she drinks a tall glass on an empty stomach. She feels proud. She believes she is detoxing. But after several weeks, her readings have not improved, and on some days they are higher. That is why you should be careful with every trend you see online. What works as a clever headline may not be right for a 68-year-old body. If you enjoy celery, a few fresh stalks are usually fine. But do not make daily celery juice a habit without speaking to your doctor first. And now we come to the fourth vegetable. This one may surprise even more people, because it has a glowing reputation among health-minded seniors. It is often called a comfort food and a vegetable at the same time. I am talking about olives, especially the salted and brined olives most of us buy. Again, olives are not bad for everyone. The olive itself contains healthy fats. But here is the catch that few people think about. Almost every olive you buy, whether green or black, in a jar or from the deli counter, has been cured and stored in salt brine. That is what gives olives their savory, salty bite. And that same salt is exactly what your blood pressure does not need in large amounts. Many people snack on olives by the handful, believing they are choosing something Mediterranean and heart-healthy. They add them to salads, to pasta, to appetizer plates. To the eye, it looks clean and sophisticated. But for blood vessels that are already under pressure, a handful of olives may be carrying more sodium than the body is ready to handle. This is why healthy should never mean unlimited, especially after 60. A food can carry good fats and still bring too much salt when eaten too often. So what should you do with olives? Do not become afraid of them entirely. But if your blood pressure is being watched, treat them as a small garnish, not a snack you eat by the fistful. A few olives chopped into a dish for flavor is very different from a whole bowl on the table. Your body after 60 deserves that kind of respect. Now, after hearing all of this, you might be thinking, good grief, what is left for me to eat? And I understand that feeling. Nobody wants to sit at the dinner table feeling like everything is forbidden. The goal is not to take the joy out of your meals. The goal is to make smarter swaps, because the right replacement can leave you full and satisfied without making your heart work so hard. The first better choice is fresh cucumber. Cucumber is not flashy, but for blood pressure-friendly eating, it is one of the smartest vegetables to keep on hand. It is naturally very low in sodium, and high in water, which actually helps your body rather than burdening it. And here is the best part. Cucumber can replace the pickle. If you miss that cool crunchy bite next to your sandwich, slice fresh cucumber, add a splash of vinegar, a little dill, and some black pepper. You get the crunch and the tang without the heavy load of salt. This is what heart-friendly eating should feel like. Not punishment. Just a smarter version of something you already enjoy. The second better choice is sweet bell pepper. Bell peppers are often treated as decoration, sliced into a salad, just to add color. But for blood pressure, they are far more useful than that. They are low in sodium, naturally a little sweet, and packed with vitamin C and potassium, which actually helps balance the effects of salt in the body. They can stand in for the salty, creamed, and canned vegetables on your plate. Roast them until the edges soften and turn sweet. Slice them raw for crunch. Sauté them with a touch of olive oil. They bring brightness and flavor, and food still has to taste good. A plan you hate will not last very long, but a simple swap that still satisfies has a real chance of becoming a habit. The third better choice is fresh leafy greens like romaine or green leaf lettuce. Most people do not call lettuce a superfood, but it is one of those quiet foods that helps you fill your plate without adding salt or strain. It is naturally very low in sodium, very low in calories, and high in water. You can build a large, satisfying salad that feels like a real meal while asking almost nothing of your blood vessels. For someone who used to reach for the salty canned vegetables every night, a generous fresh salad with vinegar and olive oil can become a wonderful replacement. It gives you volume, crunch, and freshness. It may not be glamorous, but as the old folks say, it gets the job done. The fourth better choice is herbs and a squeeze of fresh lemon. Herbs are cheap, easy to find, and may already be in your kitchen. But for people over 60, they carry one major advantage. They create strong flavor without salt, and that is a very big deal. Too much salt raises blood pressure, and high blood pressure is one of the leading causes of heart and kidney damage over time. So every time you reduce salt while keeping your food enjoyable, you are protecting your arteries. Many older adults struggle with low-salt eating because the food tastes bland. The doctor says reduce sodium, the family says eat healthier, but when dinner tastes like cardboard, the old habits come rushing back. Fresh herbs like basil, parsley, oregano, rosemary, and a bright squeeze of lemon can change that. They make healthier food taste alive. You can use them in soups, on fish, on chicken, on vegetables, and over your fresh salad. Even a small handful can make a meal smell warmer and taste richer. And remember, herbs are not a replacement for your medication or your doctor, but they can support better habits by helping you cut salt without losing flavor. Now let us bring the whole picture together. The message is not that vegetables are bad. The message is that after 60, your body may not handle every food the way it did at 30. Fresh vegetables are wonderful, but pickled vegetables soaked in brine may bring too much salt when eaten too often. Canned and creamed vegetables may feel comforting but can hide large amounts of sodium and saturated fat. Celery is fine in fresh stalks, but daily celery juice concentrates its natural sodium, and olives, despite their healthy fats, are usually cured in heavy salt. On the other side, fresh cucumber can replace the salty pickle. Sweet bell peppers can replace the creamed and canned vegetables. Fresh leafy greens can fill your plate gently, and herbs with lemon can help you cut salt while keeping your food delicious. This is not about fear. This is about wisdom. Your heart has worked for you for decades. It has beaten through thousands of meals, thousands of stressful days, thousands of moments when you ate too much salt or ignored the small warning signs. At this stage of life, your heart does not need perfection. It needs attention. It needs you to pause before a meal and ask one simple question. Is this food helping my heart carry less burden, or is it making it work harder? That question can change the way you eat. It may help you skip the daily pickles, rinse the canned vegetables, set down the celery juice, and reach for herbs before reaching for the salt shaker. These changes may seem small, but health after 60 is built by small choices repeated consistently. One meal at a time, one ingredient at a time, one better decision at a time. Your blood pressure may be silent, But silence does not mean nothing is happening. Every meal is a message you send to your body. And starting today, you can send a different one. I am taking better care of you. Before we end, I want to gently remind you of something important. This video is for general education only. It is not meant to scare you, and it does not replace advice from your doctor. If you have high blood pressure, heart disease, kidney concerns, or if your doctor has told you to watch your sodium, please speak with your doctor or a qualified dietitian before making major changes to your diet. Every body is different. A food helpful for one person may need caution for another. Taking care of your health does not mean following advice blindly. It means listening to your body, asking better questions, and getting professional guidance when you need it. If this video helped you understand your heart a little better, please like it, share it with someone over 60 who may need to hear this, and subscribe for more simple, practical food guidance to help you stay healthier, stronger, and more independent as you age. And remember this, getting older does not mean your body has stopped improving. It can still adapt. It can still recover. It can still respond to better choices. You do not need to change your whole life overnight. Just begin with one better meal, one gentler habit, one kinder decision for your heart and the body that has carried you through so many years. The choice is still in your hands. I hope you have a peaceful, healthy, and energetic day. And as always, take a deep breath, my friend.